Hey everybody, welcome to my 2-month review of the Steamdeck OLED. So this is my story going back to 2023. Um, in early March of 2023, I purchased the LCD model. It was $400 still, and I tried it for 2 weeks, and I decided it wasn't for me at the time. Um, it it's the first time that they had handhelds. No one else had really started releasing any at the time. It was just becoming easier to get the Steam Deck. So I was just like, eh. And I ended up returning it. And here we are a year later, same first week of March ish. I decided to go for the LCD model again. It was timing because I had gotten injured and I was going to be out of work and I didn't want to sit at my desk. I wanted to be laying in bed with my foot elevated. And so I went for it. I got the 64 gigabyte. It was then 350 instead of 400 because they had then released the OLED model. And I gave myself about the 2 week window and I made my decision to submit for a refund and purchase, before I returned it, purchased the OLED model. And once the OLED model came in, I gave myself a little bit of time to compare in between each other for a day or a couple hours. And I knew I was going to stick with the OLED because it had a better screen, better battery life, better sound, better thermals, a slightly smaller, a 7 nanometer to a 6 nanometer processing chip of the same chip, better haptics in the trackpad, better joysticks, sorry. And then the buttons were a little bit better, clickier, same with the trigger buttons. You can see that I have the purple, or the orange power button, and then this LED here actually changes colors depending on if it's plugged in and charging, if it's full, and it turns on when the device is in like a 10 or 15% battery remaining situation. And then everywhere on the Steam Deck LCD where it would have been straight up white is kind of gray. So the text, the buttons, or the dots, and this, and then the joysticks down at the base are white on the LCD model. They are black here. And I also have an anti-glare screen protector because this is a 512 model. I did not decide to go with the 1 gigabyte model, terabyte, sorry, because I didn't want to have the permanent anti-glare etched glass. I wanted to have the standard glass, and then I have the ability to take it off and put it on because I heard some mixed feelings about the clarity. Obviously changes with anti-glare, which you can see right here. It's really nice. But I just wasn't sure. So I had this one left over from the LCD model from way back, so it kind of worked out. But anywho, have been using it for, like, my review overall is coming from when I got the LCD model this year. So it's been 2 months. I've had this for just about a month and like 2 weeks or something like that. So like a month and a half. And I've been using it every day to play all my games. I very, very little went into ROMs and emulation. Everything that I've emulated, I own either in possession here in this house or back at my home with my parents. So I'm safe there on that behalf. You should always own the products that you're trying to emulate because if they come after you, you have proof. But anyway, beside the point. Absolutely loving the OLED model. I have an OLED Switch, which is literally right here, and I wanted to compare the size. So you can see the screen on the OLED Switch is 7 inches. I think this is 7.2, 7.4. I think it's 7.2. So you can see that it's a little bit smaller, which is not bad. And then obviously the thinness of the actual product is, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Yeah, so you can see that this product is a little thinner, and even at the thinnest point of the Steam Deck, it's just slightly thicker. But then you've got these amazing grips that you don't have with the first party Nintendo Switch controllers, and they've given this much more curve than the LCD models, so it doesn't pinch into your hand after a while. But I play this in hand hours without any issue of weight. And like I was talking about all the improvements to this, it's noticeable and it's enjoyable. And the battery life goes from 3 to 8 hours to like 3 to 12 hours, depending on if it's like a heavier game or a indie game or a 2D side scroller. But the option and availability is there, and then you can modify certain things within the software to make your game last longer. Set the settings lower on things graphically and stuff. And it's a sacrifice, but you're going mobile with something. And then obviously, I did try the fan, and I did notice that the fan was much louder on the previous generation Steam Deck with like the LCD model. The OLED fan, if you look at people's teardown, is slightly bigger, many more fan fins, so it's quieter, which is great. But yeah, 512 model, 1 terabyte in the micro SD card slot. I happened to upgrade it from a 512 because I had the 64 gigabyte model before. Um, I guess playing games, I played everything current that has come out. Helldivers, it's like they can always update the protons to make things work better. It's kind of like the proton is like the middle layer between Linux operating system and the Windows application itself running on Linux. They're always updating and improving and releasing new models, and they have an experimental version of Proton that you can install, and every time they update it, it fixes it. It's like a assist, so you have a much bigger variety of games. I think that was the thing back in the day, is I didn't understand Proton, so I was like, I'm not going to be able to play like that many games on a Steam Deck because it's Linux, and all the games we have are Windows based. But Proton has, you know, it's amazing. And there's such a huge community that you can Google something and there's someone out there in the world on, all the different social media communication communities that they have already tried to do what you're doing, and they can step you through how to do it, which is great. Um, but yeah, I play Horizon Forbidden West, which is new on PC. I got Ghost of Tsushima, which is brand new on PC, and it plays very well on here. Hellblade 2, it's another brand new PC game, and they've got like Unreal 5 and things. Yeah, you have to run it on low when it comes to like brand new games, but it still performs well enough that you can play it. And I've got a handful of other games, and with Steam sales going on all the time, I only bought, through the last 2 months, I think I only bought 2 games at full price because they were brand new PC released games. Other than that, everything else was purchased at a really good deal of 50% or more off. And with the Steam return policy where you can play it for 2 hours in less than 2 weeks, I use that to my advantage. I put a purchase limit of what I could purchase, and I tried it for a couple, like I set an hour limit to myself. And after an hour, if I got into it and I liked it, great. I'd let it sit for a couple days. If I came back to it more than once or twice, then, every game is different, but it was just nice to have that. Okay, I've had this game, I played it for 23 minutes, and I've had it for almost 2 weeks. It's got to go. And then I return it and I get something else. My Steam library isn't that big compared to others, but it's just nice to have that. I want to try it and see if it's good, and if it's good, then I'll keep it. If it's not, you can just kind of throw it back to Steam and say it wasn't for me. And it's very simple to do. So that goes for everything Steam. So on the PC or on your computer, if you're always like, hey, my friend's playing this game, I should try it out, you can see. Find out if you hate it. There's been lots of games that I thought were going to be for me and they weren't, and I got my money back and used on something else, or just changed my mind altogether. So I'm glad that it's an option for all of us. But yes, going back to the Steam Deck and mobility of gameplay, it's great. I take it with me. I guess I haven't really gone anywhere, but when I had it before last year in 2023, I did take it to Disney on a warm day, and I went to Toontown and sat in the shady area and playing Steam. It was just being in that environment and having the ability to play like Dreamlight Valley. That's a big game I've been playing mobilely here. And you can do remote play together, and you can remote play from your PC. So I can run a high quality game on high graphics and then Steam Link it over to the Steam Deck, or be remote and do the same thing. But it is nice to also have the ability to play stuff locally. So, just think about your budget. If you're coming into getting a mobile gaming PC, I always suggest going with the latest and greatest. Spend the extra money, save a little bit, and get a new Steam Deck OLED, which isn't new anymore, but it is the latest and greatest. If you're on a budget, definitely go for a Steam Deck LCD, but know that 64 is not a lot of storage when it comes to PC gaming, and you'll either need to guarantee get an a micro SD card, or you'll have to open up and remove the 64 gigabyte SSD and get something bigger. If you're not as confident in opening a computer and modifying something like that, I highly suggest getting like a 256, even spending a little bit more. They have their whole like pre-owned section on Valve's Steam store, or you can risk a little bit more and go to GameStop and see if a store has one. You can go on their website and they'll list stuff like that. But I've not tried any of the PC handheld gaming things. I know that they're making improvements, but in the way of performance to battery life, getting more than like 2 or 3 hours max on those, even with like the latest and greatest ones that have come out in the last like couple weeks, like the second generations, Steam Deck is still on top. The operating system is optimized for mobility. The Protons, the community is huge. The customer service is absolutely phenomenal. And with iFixit partnerships, you can literally buy any piece for the Steam Deck and replace it yourself. And they've got how-tos on ifixit.com. So it doesn't get any better than that. Even if you're outside of warranty, you can still buy the part and replace it yourself without having to send it in to do an RMA. So with that, thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, and tell me if you bought a Steam Deck and how long you've had it and your thoughts on it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.